Brian Chambliss on the win. We're just going to quickly go have a look at what happened to Hernandez here at the very end. Ooh. Alright, that's a little bit of he said, she said there. We won't worry too much about that one though. Because here is Brian Chambliss. He's going to celebrate his win here at Michigan. He's going to do it in style. Seeing what happened here coming off of turn 4. Pretty sure it was the 18 of Brian Beach. It was. He gets very loose coming off the corner down into the 19 of Matt Horton. 78 of Brian Pizzicami with nowhere to go here. See the 1 car, Brandon Bennett. He gets into it as well. The 13 car gets clear. 81 gets clear. These guys are fighting pretty close right now. 17 of Christian Budd managing to hold on. And now they're going to have to deal with the 38 of Thomas Harmon, who's going to make it 3 wide on the inside. They've gotten the 17 of Christian Budd clear. And now Thomas fighting for the lead, giving a little bit of a bump there to Gerald West. Gerald rolling with the punches. They're going 3 wide again, coming off. Hello everyone and welcome to the Chicagoland Speedway. Welcome to the Roy's Towing 150 right here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel. Round number 2 for season 2022 here in the Output Racing League. And we have quite the number of entries here for racing this evening. Including quite a few new faces. 25 cars to tackle the racing action here tonight. 35 strength of field. And here is one of our new drivers now, Adam Bowden, in the 83 car. He's an A-Class 1.2k I-rating driver. It's a little bit low on the I-rating side of things, but he's out here looking to have some fun. Another new driver is going to be the 42 of Rich Allen. He's a C-Class 3.3 with a 1k I-rating. Another one just looking to get a little bit of experience out there on the track. It'll be very interesting to see these drivers on track. We also had the return of Andrew Perkins, the return of Ken Campbell. So that's pretty exciting as the drivers are heading into the pits. Looks like we're about to get underway for a pit party here. And we are indeed as one of the cars coming out onto the track. Got Kyle Kraus back in action here tonight as well. He was missing in action the last week. We've also got Robert DeVore. We did see him at the Clash. Just trying to look through our list of names here to see where the new guys are at. I think I've covered them. It looks like we're getting ready for a pit party here. And we're off and racing. Everyone wanting to be in the outside lane here for the start of the pit party. No one wanting to be down low at all. One thing we've noticed pretty early that the high line seems to be preferred early in the run. And do not adjust your sets. There's definitely the 65 of Corey Steinhauser in P1 right now with a 30.617. P2 currently goes the way of Thomas Harmon, a 30.655. It's 0.038 off the time set by Steinhauser. Matt Horton third, John Sparkes fourth, Robert DeVore in fifth, Brian Pizzakemi P6, Sam Niederhelm 7, TJ Cranton 8, but Brian Chambliss 9th, and Andrew Perkins in 10th. As the 39, James Watson getting up into the fence in turn 1. Oh, 3 wide in the back. I think Steinhauser is cut across the nose of someone there. I didn't see who that was. Oh. And there's been a Bengal. The 13 of Travis Massey, the 1 of Brandon Bennett. 65 Corey Steinhauser. I think it was actually Bennett that Steinhauser turned across on the pit straight there. This is one of those tracks where you can go 3 wide and do it quite comfortably. The 61 of TJ Crampton fell down a couple of positions there in the pit party. They go for a tight 3 wide, bring it back down to 2. Yeah, this is definitely a track where you don't want to get stuck on the inside, especially not on starts and restarts. This is another one of those tracks where the restart zone will be in play. So the first start will be on green. All the restarts will be in the restart zone at the leader's discretion. There's a 3 of Paul Cox just there on the inside of the track. Not sure what happened to him. But for the most part, this has to be one of the cleanest pit parties we've seen in a long time. Currently looking at Ken Campbell in the 15. A lot of people using that neon yellow paint. You see it's on Ken Campbell's car, it's on Thomas Harmon's car. I don't mean a lot of people, I mean just a few. I'm pretty sure there's a similar kind of colour on Steinhauser's car as well. Definitely makes them stand out in the crowd though, as now we look at 2 of Chris Champeau. Oh, there's contact at the front and 3 wide. Somehow they all managed to save it. Oh, there's no saving that. It's 12 of Matt Burgess to 61. BJ Crampton, oh, and right at the death of it. Jonas Marquez jumping into it as well on the 64. There is the 48 of Andrew Perkins coming back into the lead. John Lozelle was in the fence coming out of turn 4. So he's no longer with the pack. Matt Horton is chasing down Chris Champeau and Kyle Kraus. Chris Champeau is trying to make the outside move on Kraus. And it worked. Yeah, it definitely seems like the outside lane has the advantage. But there's a lot of really nasty bumps on the high side of 3 and 4 that you've got to keep an eye on. But it's just bumps all over 3 and 4 that you definitely got to keep an eye on. And they're very different with how the car reacts. If you hit them just right, then you can carry a lot of speed through turns 3 and 4. But if you hit them just a little bit wrong, then it could either send you straight into the outside fence, like we've seen a couple of people do there, but on a more severe scale, or it can make you spin out towards the apron. And touching the apron around here is death. Getting hit by someone mid-corner is also death, as a round goes to 66 of Sam Niederhelm off the nose of Pizzacami. And got it gathered back up. He didn't hit anything. We have just 13 minutes left in practice before we go to qualifying. Chris Chapeau currently, where is he? 9th in the standings. About to get overtaken by Brandon Bennett, currently 17th. Got Joe Slama just on the front of this pack. He's at that 9 car there, just in front of Chris. Great to see Joe back in action. 47.57 I rating, A-class 4.29. Well, it looks like he's experimenting with some alternate dimensions in practice. And they worked for him as he went sailing around Thomas Harmon. Your top 5 here in practice is still Steinhauser, Harmon, Horton, Marquez, and DeVore. Harmon shuts the door on Brian Chambliss there. Chambliss now looks to the inside in turn 3. Couldn't quite get the move made. Opens up the door for the 2 of Chris Champeau to come around his outside. That's just how strong that outside line is. You get a nice run out of 2, you send it to the inside of 3, and it goes nowhere. And you get stuck on the inside and everyone just sails around you. There's Matt Horton running the high line, getting a feel for it. Now Chambliss in the background, wall riding it. just without the actual hitting of the wall. There is the 42 of Rick Allen as well. He's currently 21st. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more pace out of him as the race goes on. He sends it to the inside. He must be on much fresher tyres than everyone around him. Oh, the 64, Jonas Marquez. Defense on entry to 3 and broke something. Still the sparks flying off the car before he went into turn 1. So now with less than 8 minutes to go in practice. And there was some death. There's Andrew Perkins, Matt Horton, and Ken Campbell getting into that one. Another thing that's very surprising is we're not actually seeing too many people practice pit entry. One of the kind of difficult pit entries that we got on the schedule. Just because of the way these cars are. Got to dial in a little bit of rear brake to even attempt to stop from locking up the fronts, and even then it just makes it super sketchy on the entry to the pit lane, especially if you're trying to gain time on entry. There's 15 Ken Campbell coming out of the pits, getting overtaken by Joe Schlammer. Just up ahead is the 3 of Paul Cox. Like Paul Cox was about to practice a pit entry. I see the 65 of Corey Steinhauser, the one of Brandon Bennett. Steinhauser diamonding off the corner, getting a fairly decent run there on Bennett. Bennett absolutely rim riding through the tri-oval, tapping the wall slightly into turn 1. 8 tyres are better than 4, says Steinhauser, and slips up in front of him. And Steinhauser went on to protect that outside line. Now just have 5 minutes left in practice. The 38 Thomas Harmon still P2. '64 Jonas Marquez. Marquez getting up the inside of Harmon there. Both of them on fairly similar tyres, actually. Oh, 61 was around in the pit lane. Now only had the sum of about 3 minutes left in practice. It would be the perfect time for someone to do a qualifying simulation run. Not that I think we'll actually see any. Although I do see a couple of drivers now just rolling out onto the track. Like the 6 of Robert DeVore, the 24 Frank Isaacson. To the inside of Slama goes Marquez. Slama on 12 lap old tyres and Marquez on 8 lap old tyres. So this is the difference 4 laps makes to tyres. There's a 23 John Lozelle as well. The top 10 here for practice: Steinhauser, Harmon, Horton, Marquez, DeVore, Chambliss, Lozelle, Crampton, Pisacemi, and Niederhelm. Oh, as big time into the fence. The 23 of John Lozelle. But we are in the final minute of practice now. Means very shortly we're going to take a commercial break. So these guys can go out and qualify. And when we come back, we will see the results of qualifying for the Royce Towing 120 right here from the Chicagoland Speedway. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Racing action coming up next. welcome back to the Roy's Towing 150 right here from the Chicagoland Speedway. Qualifying is complete. Time for us to start going through our qualifying order. On the pole, going to be the 33 of Matt Horton. Coming out of P2 will be the 6 of Robert DeVore. P3 will be the 38 of Thomas Harmon, with P4 the 60 of Kyle Kraus. P5 will be the 61 of TJ Crampton, with P6 the 64 of Jonas Marquez. P7 will be the 23 of John Lozelle, the 8 and 9 of Joe Slama. P8, yeah, P8 and 9 of Joe Slama. P9 will be the 12 of Matt Burgess, with P10 the 2 of Chris Champeau. Then from 11th onwards, it's going to be Perkins, Chambliss, Allen, Ken Campbell, Frank Isaacson, Alan Bowden. We've got Brian Harris, Travis Start, James Watson, and Sam Niederholm. That's your 10 to 20. The rest of your field is Steinhausen 21st, Massia, Pizzacami, Brandon Bennett, and Paul Cox wrapping up the field. $25 cars to take on 100 laps here around the Chicagoland Speedway for the Roy's Towing 150 right here for round number 2, season 2022 for the Output Racing League. As we just get the one pace lap before we tackle the 100 laps here. The pace car is going to make that hard left-hand turn. The first starters on green. All the restarts are on the leader in the restart zone. And we're off and racing. And already you see that outside line with Robert DeVore taking a slight advantage. But Matt Horton on the inside line powers through, slide job into the top lane. He is going to lead our way down the back straight for the first time. Got a couple of side-by-side bits of action going on just behind these guys. The 38 Thomas Harmon trying to take over the second position from DeVore. And he is going to do so. Across the start-finish line for the first time. See the 9 of Joe Salama there. He's looking at the task ahead. So many cars ahead of him. Got the 2 of Chris Champeau trying to make moves on the inside line. We've got 23 of John Lozelle making similar things. Oh, and sideways for 61. TJ Crampton into the fence was the 12 of Matt Burgess. Like everyone continuing on. Still looking at the 61 TJ Crampton. Looks like he's got the handle on the car now. He must have just hit one of those bumps wrong in turn 4. Very easy to do around here, as I said in practice. Those bumps through 3 and 4 can be absolutely deadly. Now looking at the 48 of Andrew Perkins and the 2 of Chris Champeau just in front of them. Going to go 3 wide. The 6 of Robert DeVore on the extreme outside. The 60 of Kyle Kraus trying to find his way through the middle. The 23 of John Lozelle on the inside. And Robert DeVore takes the advantage there, but they're going to go 3 wide again in 1 and 2. As DeVore once again rim rides around the outside, trying to get all the momentums. They go 3 wide down the back straight. And it was like this time, it's all fairly even. There's no real advantage there for anyone. It's now the 23 of John Lozelle dives down onto the apron. He's actually lost a little bit of time from doing that. Normally that's the fast way around, but not on this occasion. There's 3 wide behind these guys as well, with Champo, Perkins, I think that was a 9 of Salama as well. Salama dropping back a little bit. And now these guys go back to double files. The 23 John Lozelle backed out and slotted in behind Kyle Kraus. But the battle between Kraus and DeVore still continuing. DeVore trying everything he can to get around the outside of Kraus and make it stick. 23 Lozelle just trying to look to gain some positions as DeVore now falls back from Kyle Kraus and into the clutches of Lozelle and Champo. Champo looking to make the move up the middle, couldn't quite get there. There was space for a brief second to get there, but he couldn't quite fill the gap. As now John Lozelle starting to fall back a little bit. And now Lozelle falls back into position behind Robert DeVore. To Chris Champo sends it up the inside. Oh, might have been a little bit of a touch there. And now Robert DeVore trying to look for the outside of Kyle Kraus. Guys battling over 4th. And here comes John Lozelle trying to be picky in the middle. Didn't quite have the momentum to make it so, because Robert DeVore had all the momentums on the outside and just powered around him. Kyle Kraus has now fallen back to P6 behind Lozelle. Top 3 riding that white line on the bottom. Matt Horton still leading the way. He's led every lap so far of the 9 laps complete. Robert DeVore trying to absolutely slay with that outside lane. Using all the momentum. Trying to take over 3rd from Jonas Marquez. And at the line, he will do so. Jonas goes to the apron. It's going to lose him a little bit of time. John Lozelle trying to join that party now as well. He wants to get 4th. And he will do so. Jonas Marquez has now dropped back to 5th. Robert DeVore still absolutely hammering that high line. As now, 38 of Thomas Harmon has gotten underneath the 33 of Matt Horton. Harmon just leading it at the line by almost nothing. He takes the lead with authority from Horton. Horton's not going to let that one slide. He's going to try and fight back on Thomas Harmon, as I think Robert DeVore there got into the fence on the entry to 3. I lost him a little bit of momentum. Allowed the 23 of John Lozelle to get up on his inside. And Robert DeVore has now dropped down to 5th. You see the 33 of Matt Horton trying to gain a little bit of momentum in that outside line. Doesn't quite work out when you're the leading car. The momentum is there, it's just not as much as if you had that little bit of drafting assistance. Now go back in the pack, we're looking at the 9 of Joe Slama. Sandwiched between TJ Crampton and Ken Campbell. Here comes Ken Campbell now looking for the outside run on Joe. Joe choosing not to go to the apron. Keeps him in this fight. Six of Robert DeVore still absolutely hammering that high line as Ken Campbell does get around Joe Slava. Now it looks like the 60 of Kraus and the 61 of Crampton trying to get around the 2 of Chris Champeau. Taking the high line, and Campbell, he wants a part of this as well. Gets his nose just close enough to the back of Crampton that Champeau can't defend. Definitely pack racing right now. This is what NASCAR was trying to achieve with the low horsepower, high downforce package of Gen 6. Oh, a little bit of side-to-side contact there again between Crampton and Champeau. Crampton does prevail though, takes over that 7th position. Looks like the 60 of Carl Kraus trying to look for an inside run on the 6 of Robert DeVore. That's the battle for 5th. Couldn't get there as DeVore has all the momentums of that outside lane to maintain. And Crampton decides discretion is the better part of valor there. Drops in behind Champeau this time. Just behind Crampton is the 21 of Brian Chambliss. He started in 12th. He already worked his way up to 9th. His paint scheme is kind of reminiscent of if Dale Earnhardt Sr. ever had DuPont as a sponsor. Looks very intimidating. Now we go 3 wide. It's Robert DeVore, the 60 of Carl Kraus, the 2 of Chris Champeau. DeVore majorly backed out of that one. Now we go 3 wide again. And this time the 2 of Chris Champeau powering around the outside. Maintains position. DeVore's dropped all the way down to 8th. By that 9th as Chambliss gets around the outside and picks up another one. Robert DeVore just looks like he is not having a fun time. He's now dropped all the way back to the 12th position. Still continuing to run that high line though. Just look up ahead of him. 12 of Matt Burgess getting underneath the 15 of Ken Campbell, while the 21 of Brian Chambliss working around the outside of Carl Kraus. Chambliss picks off another one and moves him up in the 7th. 3 wide we go here, and the 12 of Matt Burgess just getting overtaken. by Ken Campbell and Kyle Kraus. Now Bird's just going to look for the outside run on Kraus. And it looks like he's going to do it. He's up in the 9th now. And it looks like Thomas Harmon and Matt Horton is absolutely pulled away from the rest of the field. There's Thomas Harmon, there's Matt Horton. They have a 2-second gap over the 23 of John Lozelle, who's in 3rd, and he's got a little bit of a gap back to Chris Champeau in 4th. There's a 61 TJ Crandon trying to get around the outside of Jonas Marquez. There's the 21 Chambliss as well. He wants in on this battle. Pulling right up to the bumper of Crampton, drafting him along that back straight. And Chambliss gets his way around Marquez, put him up into P6. Now Chambliss is looking for the outside of TJ Crampton, who got onto the apron there a little bit. 64. Jonas Marquez got a little bit of a bump. Look at how sideways he was. He managed to save it. That was incredible. He got a tap from behind. I wasn't sure who it was that tapped him, but he absolutely almost died then. Back up to the front. Brian Chambliss has made his way into 5th, getting around Ken Campbell. The next person on his list is going to be the 2 of Chris Champeau, and he's already gained 7 positions from where he started. And set the camera to the most exciting. Currently looking at Kyle Kraus. He's making his way to the inside of Robert DeVore. These guys battling over the last position of the top 10. And Robert DeVore still holds on to it coming out of turn 4. As we're already 30 laps into this race, we're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, more racing action here from the Chicagoland Speedway. The Boys Towing 150 coming up shortly. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Welcome back to the Roy's Towing 150 here from the Chicagoland Speedway, the Season 2 2022 of the Output Racing League. And there hasn't been too many changes. You can see a little bit of a battle forming just up ahead here between the 61 and the 9. It's Crampton and Slama, as we are nearing green flag pit stops. We're only a matter of about 16 laps away from the start of green flag pit stops here, if the first pitter pits halfway. Oh, CJ Crampton got into the fence there a little bit. Oh, the 12 of Matt Burgess flirting with the apron there. That's going to cost him. He got a little bit sideways. Crampton gets around his outside and he takes over that 7th position. Just up ahead, there's a little bit of battling as well. 23 of John Lozelle trying to make a move around the outside of Brian Chambliss. Chambliss holding on pretty strong here on the inside though, as he's got a slide job up in front of John Lozelle. John Lozelle now taking the inside line out of 2. Got a lot of momentum from running that high line. And he actually gets cleared of Chambliss going into turn 3. But Chambliss trying to fight back on that outside line. Couldn't quite get there, as he's going to bump draft with John Lozelle going along the front straight. And the leaders are actually just about to encounter their first part of lap traffic. Just up in front of Thomas Harmon is the 83. That is Adam Bowden, making his first race here with the Output Racing League. He hasn't had a great start to it. Just getting caught up in his own little mistakes, losing the pace a little bit. And he is about 1.5 seconds away from getting lapped. Oh, the 78 of Brian Pizzacchemi is looking a little bit loose there on the inside line. He's going to get past by Brian Harris. But the 3 of Paul Cox looking hungry as well. He wants to make a move. Looks like Cox, that shiny red paint on the front of his car. He's going to send it to the outside of Pizzacchemi. They come out of turn 2. He's probably going to get that move made as Pizzacchemi. He had to check up a little bit so he didn't run into Cox. Thomas Harmon just put Bowden a lap down. On the plus side, if we get a caution right now, Bowden would get immediately back onto the lead lap. Let's go check in a little bit further up the field. 61 of TJ Crampton battling it out with the 12 of Matt Burgess. These guys arguing over the 7th position. TJ Crampton taking the outside line. Now Joe Slama looking for the outside as well of Matt. PJ gets him cleared. Matt thought about it, and yeah, he's actually going to slide up behind TJ Crampton there. Slama gave him enough room to do so. Because everyone's tyres are just about at their wits' ends here. Depending on how hard you've been running your tyres, these right fronts could be anywhere from about 35%, I'm going to say, up to about maybe 45%. Wouldn't expect anything to be much more than 45% at this point in the run. Unless you're really, really good at looking after your tyres. There's now Burgess and Slama arguing over the 8th position. And it looks like Slama on the outside line is just about going to take it, but he's starting to experiment with some alternate dimensions as well. Trying to find that little bit of a speed boost. As Burgess goes all the way down to the apron. And as we've seen, that actually hinders more than it helps. Slama just inches off of that fence going through 1 and 2. He actually lost out on a lot of time doing so, as everyone's now caught up to Bowden, who's just trying to stay out of the way, let everyone pass. Now look at the 48. That's Andrew Perkins. He's trying to effect an overtaking maneuver here on the 60 of Carl Kraus. But he's also under pressure from the 3 of Paul Cox, who sent it in on turn 3. I haven't seen us send that big since Daniel Ricciardo was with Red Bull. As these guys also catch up to 83 of Adam Bowden. Got Frank Isaacson up in this mix as well, with Brian Pizzakemi and Brian Harris. 2 Brians with a Y side by side, both of them being beaten by the Brian with an I. Speaking of Brian with an I, Chambliss is in 4th right now. Christian Poe has actually overtaken Matt Horton for 2nd. We missed that. I don't even know when that happened. The battles are still on. The 3 of Paul Cox actually getting to the inside. Carl Kraus there affecting the overtake. He's moved himself up into 11th now. Andrew Perkins does the same thing on the inside of Carl Kraus. He takes over 12th. Kraus not having fun in that outside line now, that seems. Oh, it looks like the 8 of Brian Harris got to the fence there on the entry to 3. Ever so slightly. Kraus trying to battle back to the inside of Andrew Perkins. We also see the 78 of Brian Pizzakemi trying to effect an overtake on Frank Isaacson. Those guys battling it out over 15th. Actually, no, 14th. My apologies. It looks like Frank hit the fence a little bit there coming out of turn 2. As we've now reached halfway, we've got 50 laps down, 50 laps to go. And we have had our first critter. That was the 39 of James Watson. As now John Lozelle comes into the pits. Looks like the 83 Bowden also in the pits. Oh, loose. With the 78 of Brian Pizzakemi coming out of turn 2. Just about contact between himself and Brian Harris in the 8. As Harris actually powering down to the inside of Kyle Kraus there in turn 3. Trying to take over, that's the 12th position. John Lozelle, who's just come out of the pits just in front of these guys. He's on much fresher tyres, so he'll be able to power away from them and not be intrusive on their battle. We'll actually be starting to see a lot of green flag pit stops here shortly. To the inside of Kraus goes to 78 of Pizzakemi. That looked like a very last minute decision. And he makes that move, that's for 13th. As the 2 of Chris Champeau's now come into the pits. We've got another one joining him, the 48 of Andrew Perkins. Thomas Harmon in the 38 still staying out on track 3 wide. As James Watson starting to blitz the field. Travis Masia gets around Kyle Kraus. Kyle Kraus just really seems like he's struggling for tyre life right now. 24 Frank Isaacson's just hit the pit lane. And iRacing just crashed. So we're going to go to a commercial break, and when we come back, And we are back, as we've got a few people in the pit lane now. Matt Holton, Robert DeVore, Kyle Kraus, just to name a few. Got the 64 Marquez, the 3 of Paul Cox, the 65 Corey Steinhauser. Now Ken Campbell and TJ Crampton heading into the pits. Staying 2 of the 21 of Brian Chambliss. Oh! What happened to the 61 of TJ Crampton here on pit entry? Let's find out. Oh, he's just got the slides going on. He doesn't want to run into Ken Campbell. And, yep, just slid it out and into the grass. He's going to get a penalty for that, unfortunately. Oh, the 13 Travis Massier, a similar fate, going for a slide coming into the pit entry. He's also going to have a penalty for that. The race will continue on as now the leader, the 38 Thomas Harmon, heads his way into the pits. Ryan Pizzicami looking for a break in the traffic so he can follow the 8 of Brian Harrison to the pit lane. Matt Burgess is also in. Joe Slammer currently leading the way. He has not pitted yet. The 42 is just coming as well. The 66 is Sam Niederhelmer's in. Well, I can tell it's just the 9 of Joe Slammer, the 1 of Brandon Bennett who have not pitted. And Brandon Bennett is in this time. Oh, the 23 John Lozelle, I don't think it's pitted either. As now in comes the 9 of Salama. I think the 23 of John Lozelle probably won't be too far away either. There's the 1127 Travis Dart. As John Lozelle has now taken the lead of the race. Just 39 laps left in this race now. And it's like the 61, PJ Crampton finally making his way back out onto the track after serving that penalty. He's now 3 laps down. Can you believe it? Oh, he's sideways. He's in the grass. Can he save it? Yep, he saved it. But now he's got cold, dirty tires. Oh, and he's loose again. Oh no, he's smashed into the fence. And that is going to be his racing day done. And I think that's also going to bring out a caution flag here. Our first caution of the day. And it was while the 23 of John Lozelle was leading. The current order is Lozelle, Harmon, Champeau, Chambliss, Watson, Horton, Campbell, Perkins, Dart, and Kraus as your top 10. So there's a few cars that were caught 1 lap down. So with that shake-up, we're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, more racing action from the Roy's Towing 150 right here from the Chicagoland Speedway coming up shortly. Welcome back to the Chicagoland Speedway for the Roy's Towing 150 here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel. And Joe Salama, by virtue of pitting just before that caution came out, is going to be leading the way from Robert DeVore. Got Brian Harris up there in the top 3 as well. And it looks like the 3 of Paul Cox is going to get a wave around here by virtue of being in front of the leader and behind the pace car. So the top 3 stayed out. Everyone else is pitted. So we've got John Lizelle in 4th, Thomas Harmon 5th, Chris Champo P6, Brian Chandler 7, Kyle Kraus 8, James Watson 9, Ken Campbell in 10th. As the rest of the order is going to be Perkins, Dart, Kraus. Oh, just waiting for things to readjust again as someone pitted. There's going to be Perkins, Isaacson, Pizzicami, Niederhelm, Bennett, Dart, Steinhauser, Horton, and Bowden. We've got Burgess, Masia, Marquez, Allen, and Cox all 1 lap down, although I guess Cox was 2 laps down. Now he's going to be the 1 lap down. And we've got TJ Crampton in the pits, currently 7 laps down. It's going to be interesting because the top 3, as I said, did not pit. Joe Slama with the freshest of the tyres in the top 3. Tyres are only 5 laps old. Robert DeVore on the outside line with 9 lap old tyres as it stands in the 6. Brian Harris in the middle with 7 lap old tyres. We're just waiting for the 1 to green signal. And we just got it now. Paul Cox is going to make his way around to the back of the field. We're going to get the restart here with just 32 laps left in the race. So far, only the 1 caution. I do believe this is actually the first caution of the regular season as well. Of course, all the cautions from the clash do not count. As we come out of turn 4, this restart will be on the leader in the restart zone. Slama choosing the inside line, and he's off and racing. Great restart there for Slama. DeVore and Harris sleeping a little bit there as they came to green. 3 wide we go for second. Oh, there's a touch. The ball went in the fence. And that's checked up just about everyone behind. Three wide they go once more. Got the 2 of Kraus, the 21 of Chambliss, and the 6 of DeVore. And the 21 of Chambliss going up through the middle, taking the advantage. They're briefly 3 wide behind them as well. In fact, they're still 3 wide behind. 78 of Pizzicami, the 48 of Perkins, and the 33 of Horton. Horton absolutely flying on the outside line since the restart. He started fairly deep in the pack. It's great to see everyone bunched up like this again, actually. He's putting on some immense racing right now. As no one has to worry about fuel, they just have to worry a little bit about tyres. Look at the 2 of Chris Champeau, the 15 of Ken Campbell, trying to sneak up the middle of himself and the 6 of DeVore. Joe Slama still leading the way, but Thomas Harmon right on his tail. As now Campbell does make it 3 wide. On the inside you've got the 60 of Kyle Kraus. There's the 33 of Matt Horton trying to push Campbell along. Someone in the fence just behind these guys. There's the 24 of Frank Isaacson. Thomas Harmon's ring. Oh, around goes Matt Horton. DeVore's involved. Oh, we've got a few more cars involved in this as well. Check this out. Coming out of turn 4. DeVore bounces off the fence and into Matt Horton. Horton's gone into the fence there. Comes back across the track, does the 6. Pizzicami gets a piece of it. Oh, the 27, the 1127 also gets a piece of that. And, oh, the 13 and the 42 as well. Travis Massia and Rick Allen also popping some of that. A fairly big incident there. Coming off the restart. Some of these cars get turned around and get back going again. Looks like the 13 and Massia going very slowly there. Looks like the 1127 Travis Dark could not continue. Oh, same too for Travis Massia. That's unfortunate. So they're both in the pits. Didn't really have a long enough run there as to where people would need to pit. We've got some people pitting anyway. Got Harris, Chambliss, Champeau all coming into the pits. In fact, the majority of the back of the field coming into the pits as well. Only the top 6 remain out on track. 12 of Matt Burgess gets the lucky dog wave around. And we still have 27 laps to go. As it looks like the 6 of Robert DeVore is going to be able to retake his position up here towards the front of the pack. iRacing has put him in P6 just behind Andrew Perkins. But he's probably going to want to pit here to get some of that damage fixed. And he does so. Corey Steinhauser also coming into the pits. Into the one of Brandon Bennett. We've got Thomas Harmon leading the way. From the 9 of Salama, we've got John Lozelle, Kyle Kraus, Andrew Perkins, James Watson, Sam Niederhelm, Brian Chambliss, Adam Bowden, and Ken Campbell as your top 10. And after that, it is going to be Chris Champo, Ryan Pizzakemi, Frank Isaacson, Matt Burgess, Ryan Harris, Brandon Bennett, Corey Steinhauser, Matt Horton, and then Robert DeVore. Got Paul Cox 1 lap down, Jonas Marquez 1 lap down. And come to think of it, the 12 of Matt Burgess is actually going to fall down to 18th there by being the lucky dog wave around. Looks like Travis Dart's going to be OUT out, Rick Allen OUT out, Travis Massia OUT out, TJ Crampton OUT out. So we've got 4 DNS, we've still got 21 cars on the track. And we're getting a restart here with 24 laps to go. So just under a quarter of this race left. Field comes out of turn 4. The pace car is going to make that hard left-hand turn. Thomas Harmon has control of the field in the restart zone. And he goes at about halfway through. Takes a commanding lead as they come across the start-finish line. But John Lozelle's going to pick up second here from Joe Salama. We're going to go focus on crashes, just in case something happens in the field here, because you never know, something could always happen. It looks like the most part things are pretty stationary right now. There's the 83 Adam Bowden. He was a lap down earlier, up into P10 right now, looking pretty good. Don't know why he was so off the pace earlier, but he is absolutely smashing it right now in the top 10. Sam Niederhelm in the 66, P9. As I saw 3 wide there. 24 Frank Isaacson, the 64 Jonas Marquez, 65 Corey Steinhauser there very briefly. Oh, and there's contact. Oh, and Marquez got loose and smashed the 65 of Corey Steinhauser. Go back and have a look at that one. You see on the inside line there, Jonas Marquez right in the very bottom of the track. Does he hit the apron? Oh no, he hits one of the bumps. That just sent him up into Frank a little bit. Frank was also coming down slightly. A little bit of a touch there. Made Frank very tight, and I think that knocked Jonas here a little bit loose. See it, the car starting to slide there. And he's just overcorrected it. And up into the 65 of Steinhauser he goes. Marquez gets into the fence. Steinhauser spinning wildly out of control here. There's a little bit of nose-to-nose contact with Frank. Frank gets a little bit of revenge on Jonas. And Paul Cox somehow misses the pair of them. And that looks like that's going to be Corey done for a little bit here. That left rear is broken. As the pace car goes flying up the middle of everyone through the field to catch our leader. Our leader is the 38 of Thomas Harmon. Let's see who's going to pit this time. Oh, Harmon fakes it. Quite a few people from the front faking it. Quite a few people in the back coming in. A lot of them probably to get damage fixed. With that, I think we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, more racing action coming up from the Roy's Towing 150, the Chicagoland Speedway. Stay tuned. And we are back for the Roy's Towing 120 here from the Chicagoland Speedway. As we are in our third caution of the race. Got Thomas Harmon leading the way from the 23 of John Lozelle. We've got Andrew Perkins, Joe Slama, Kyle Kraus, Brian Chambliss, James Watson, Ken Campbell, Brian Pizzakemi, and Chris Champeau as our top 10. That's Brian Harris, Frank Isaacson, Sam Niederhelm, Matt Horton, Matt Burgess, Adam Bowden, Brandon Bennett, Paul Cox, and Robert DeVore wrapping up the next 9 cars who are still in the lead lap. I've got Rick Allen, who's just re-entered the track. He's 9 laps down. I've got Corey Steinhauser in the pits. We've got Jonas Marquez in the pits. Travis Dart, he is out. Travis Massia out, and TJ Crampton out. As we are now 1 to green, and it looks like Thomas Harmon has chosen the outside lane for the restart. Gonna have Joe Slama in behind him. Joe Slama with the oldest tyres in the field right now. He's been on them for 22 laps. Paul Cox was the lucky dog wave around during this caution. As the field comes out of turn 4, the pace car goes in. And Thomas Harmon restarts this race, taking a commanding lead as they cross the start-finish line once more. 23 John Lazelle's trying to hold on to that second position, getting pushed by the 48 of Andrew Perkins as they cross the line. Ghost Lama restarted 4th, will continue to remain 4th. There's the 21 of Brian Chambliss. He's looking hungry right now. He's running instantly on the outside line. He's trying to get to the outside of Slama, trying to take over that 4th position. As Slama goes to the apron, we know that that doesn't work. And Slama actually lost out on position there to Brian Chambliss, who's running that high line. We have a battle for the lead. 23 John Lazelle's trying to get up on the inside of Thomas Harmon. The 48 of Andrew Perkins under pressure from the 21 of Chambliss as well. As the battle for the lead has concluded. And here comes Chambliss now on the outside looking for second. The 9 of Joe Slama still experimenting with alternate dimensions, trying to gain an advantage. Couldn't quite get there. As Andrew Perkins remains 3rd and John Lazelle dropped from 2nd down to 4th. Brian Chambliss has taken over the 2nd position. Hopefully John Lazelle trying to get 3rd back now. They were 3 wide behind them briefly between Slama, Kraus and Campbell. As the battle for 3rd still rages on. Oh, just about contact there as they came out of turn 2. And looking just behind them, the 33 of Matt Horton caught up in one of those earlier wrecks. And he's currently in the 8th position. As now Slama going to be the meat and the sandwich 3 wide. Kyle Kraus was on the inside, Ken Campbell on the outside, but he pulls through and takes the advantage over both of them. Kyle Kraus is just kind of stuck there on the inside a little bit. Ken Campbell trying to look for a move on the outside of Slama. Matt Horton gets around Kyle Kraus. And look at Matt Horton go. He is going to send it to the outside of Joe Slama, one of these lads. He doesn't care if he makes it 3 wide. He's going to send it the 48 of Andrew Perkins, trying to take over that 3rd position from Lazelle. And look at Matt Horton go. He is desperately trying to find his way through this field. As now Joe Slama looks to make it 3 wide. And it looks like he did. He's got no help out there on the very outside. As John Lazelle now takes over 3rd once more. We've got 10 to go in this race. Matt Horton, who was ripping the lip, now up on the inside. Just about contact between himself and Andrew Perkins. We've got 3 wide behind him as well. With Pizzacami, Kraus and Champo. We've got someone in the fence back there. I think that's the 8. Oh, and around. Big crash. 2 of Chris Champo's involved. Got James Watson, Kyle Kraus, Sam Niederhelm involved in this as well. Go back and have a look at what unfolded here coming out of turn 4. A little bit of a tap from the 12 of Matt Burgess. Down into the 6 he goes. Matt gets a tap from the 66 as well. Around they go. The 39, James Watson, crashing in sympathy. Frank Isaacson somehow gets through it. Watch the 39 come down the track. Great hands there from DeVore to miss it. Oh, but he ended up hitting 66. And that looks like that's day done for the 60 of Kraus. You can see his left rear is all locked up. But we'll wait and see on that. A lot of good cars taken out in this one as well, including the 2 of Chris Champeau. He was looking very strong there. The caution is out with 9 laps left in the race. This is our 4th caution of the race. Thomas Harmon still leading the way as the 64 Jonas Marquez comes out onto the track. And that definitely shake things up here a little bit. Because with less than 10 to go, a lot of these cars will still have an extra set of tires. Oh, but the big fakies. The big fakies from Thomas Harmon and Brian Chambliss. As I've got a few cars who have pitted. A lot of them to get damage fixed. Harmon and Chambliss both running on the apron here. Gives them the illusion they're going faster. But the 13 of Travis Massia. The Lucky Dog wave around. We're just waiting to find out everyone's position here. It makes it hard because there's a lot of people that are pitting, a lot of people that are not. I think 65, Corey Steinhauser come back out onto the track as well. He's 14 laps down. In 23rd position. And it looks like we're going to get the restart here with about 4 laps left to run in this race. lights are out on the pace car. We are going to get the restart with 4 laps left here. There's going to be Thomas Harmon, Brian Chambliss, Ken Campbell, Joe Slammer, Matt Horton, Brian Pizzakemi, Matt Burgess, Brian Harris, Brandon Bennett, Frank Isaacson, John Littell, Paul Cox, Andrew Perkins, Robert DeVore, and Adam Bowden. Chris Champeau in 16th. James Watson is being scored 1 lap down. I think James Watson is now OUT out. Sam Niederhelm is OUT out, 3 laps down. Kyle Kraus, 4 laps down. We've got Rich Allen, currently 10 laps down. And I think he's actually in the pits right now. Jonas Marquez and Travis Mascio, they're battling for position. They're both 12 laps down. Corey Steinhauser, 14 laps down. Travis Start, TJ Crampton out of the race. But here we go with 4 laps left in this race. Who is going to come out on top? The pace car goes in. We're off and racing. Very early restart that time for Thomas Harmon. The battle is for the second position right now between Chambliss and Campbell. There's a 33 and Matt Horton sneaking up in there as well. Joe Slammer and a 9 still a part of this as well. 78 Brian Pizzakemi, where did he come from? He's always towards the front at the end of the races somehow, some way. Three laps to go now. It's still Thomas Harmon's race, as it's very tight here for the second position. There's a 6-car battle for second. There's a 12 of Matt Burgess is up in there as well. Matt Burgess wants the recipient of the Lucky Dog wave around as he goes to the apron to get around a 78 of Brian Pizzakemi. And he makes that move stick. 2 to go. Look at Matt Horton on the outside. Couldn't quite get the outside of Slammer that time, but got very close. He dives it in deep into turn 3. He gets clear of Slammer. He's now got, Ken Campbell on his outside who hit the fence. White flag, last lap, last chance to win it or wear it. Thomas Harmon is going to be unfeathered here. On the back straight, there's a touch between Campbell and Horton. Oh, and around goes Campbell. It's going to be the run to the line now. Thomas Harmon wins the race. Second goes to Brian Chambliss. Third, Matt Horton. And there was definitely anarchy to end that one off. But Ken Campbell is still rolling. And he's going to come home in 15th. And Joe Slammer, I think, unfortunately could not complete the race. So he's going to be a lap down. First car 1 lap down in 16th. Now we draw our attention back to Thomas Harmon in the 38. As he's going to burn it down for a celebration of his victory here at Chicago. Alright, with that, we're going to take a quick break now. When we come back, we'll have driver interviews, so make sure you guys stay tuned. time for driver interviews now. We're kicking things off with our third place getter, and tonight's third place getter is the one, Mr. Matt Horton. Matt, a different kind of race for us out there tonight. Started out all smooth sailing and then became a little bit of a caution fest. What was the race like from your perspective?
It was honestly pretty good. Early part of the race there, I was qualified on pole, so that was nice and led some laps early, and then kind of gave up the lead to Harmon and was just chilling behind him. Uh, I hit the wall, which wasn't fun, and basically all but killed my car there in that first run. And then the last run, last bit of it was just insanity, just making moves, three wide up top, and um, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I definitely noticed in that second half of the race, you were getting some wicked restarts. Whether you started at inside or outside, you always found your way to that outside line and just hung it straight around the outside, two wide, three wide. It didn't seem to matter. You were just on the move.
Yeah, I mean, and with how tight the car was, especially on the bottom, any chance you can to, get some clean air on your nose, it's definitely an advantage. And not too many people were running up top by the wall, so that's what I was doing, that just to get clean air on the nose and trying to prevent how tight the bloody car was in dirty air.
All right, now let's talk about the last caution in that race. We did notice that you made a little bit of contact there towards the end of the race, which led to that last big crash. What happened from your perspective there?
Yeah, on that last restart, I guess it was on the white flag lap there. I just turned Ken. I was following Chambliss, and I was trying to get a side draft off of Ken going into three to hopefully get that position, and I drifted up too far, and I feel bad about that. That's I don't know. I've been here long enough. You guys know that's not how I race. I don't like to race that way. So it sucks that I did that, and like I said, I feel bad for Ken in that situation.
All right, well, let's look forward towards next week now. We're going to be going to the Michigan Speedway. What's the feeling like for you as we head into a slightly larger version of this track?
It's gonna be pretty drafty. I Michigan's one of my better tracks, but I don't have too many laps here in the next gen cars, so I expect it to be similar to this, but a little more pack racing, a little more track to work with. So it's definitely going to be interesting, especially if we get late race yellows like we did here, and it could get a little stupid.
All right, Matt, before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Shout out to all the people that make this league possible, the drivers council, all the admins who make this possible. Yourself, Corey, for putting on these broadcasts. You do a hell of a job with that, and to each and every person who comes out every night. So yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you very much for coming out, Matt. We look forward to seeing what you can do next week when we head to Michigan.
All right, thank you.
All right, guys, so that was our third place getter here tonight, the 33 of Matt Horton. Now it's time for our Hard Charger Award winner. Our Hard Charger tonight is tonight's second place driver, the one, the only, the Mr. Brian Chambliss. Brian, great race out there from you, but a very unlike us kind of a race. We started out, all normal, long green flag run, saving your tires, and then it just became a little bit of a cluster out there. What was the race like from your perspective?
Yeah, it was a little different. Normally we're, just long green flag runs, but tonight was a little different. I don't know what it was. I think a lot of it's to do with the car, but it yeah, I uh, didn't get the qualifying run that I needed to. I just completely missed turn one on my flying lap and just started back in the back, unfortunately, and that's not where I wanted to be. Um, But since I was back there, I was like, well, let's go into max tire save mode. I know this league normally runs green the whole way, or if we do have a caution, it's normally real early. So either way, I wanted to be on a strategy of saving tires, and that's was only driving probably about 50% for the first 15 laps or so. And then after that, I was like, okay, we'll start pushing it a little bit now. And I was able to, make some moves and cut through some guys and get back up in the third before the pit stops around a little past halfway. And then it wasn't too long after that we had a caution. I'd only been out there a couple laps and went in and took tires, and I was already knowing that I needed to do something a little different than what Thomas was doing to see if it could get me out in front of him, because it was so hard to pass the leader especially. And if you did get beside the leader, you brought everyone else behind you up into the fight, and that's not what I wanted to do, to be swatting people off behind me and still trying to battle. But so I took lefts there just to try to find something and also save a set of rights in case, it came down to we had another caution and I would need to take him, and Thomas would end up having 4. At least I wouldn't be so terrible off. So, but yeah, I mean, it was a little different there. A couple more cautions than normal, but it's really, having one of these every once in a while is, I wouldn't say a bad thing. It kind of breaks up the, the same thing of just your whole race strategy evolves around when are you going to pit your one time, or here it was, are we going to have enough tires to make it? When should you pit? Should you take tires now? Should you save a set for later? And it somewhat worked out, and we're back on our same roll like we were a couple seasons ago, with finishing second. Bridesmaid to Thomas again. So hopefully we can do one more next week.
Well, hopefully so. And speaking of next week, we're going to be going to the Michigan International Speedway. What's it feeling like for you as we head to a fairly similar kind of a track?
Yeah, it's similar, but as it's an oval, but to me, I think it's going to end up racing more like Pocono, where you're going to want to get in line and let the tires, let the guys that are saving tires, be able to start making moves there. But I think it's going to be a lot of drafting and making sure you're calculated on your moves, because if you make a move and don't complete it, you could go from up in the front to pretty far in the back, being able to get freight train there. So hopefully it's not like that. Hopefully I'm wrong. We'll be a little bit more spread out and be able to move around a little bit. And it won't be a single file, train around the track. But we'll see. But I still got to find one more position. Got to find one more.
All right. Now, before we let you go here tonight, Brian, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, I want to thank Joe Gibbs for continuing to show that they're going to cheat to try to win, and gladly NASCAR decided to DQ those guys. And then I want to thank me for being me. And I want to thank the guys in the league. It's a lot of fun. Thank you for broadcasting. Thank you for my family for letting me do this, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully, one position better.
Hopefully so. Thank you very much for coming out, and we'll see what you can do next week when we head to Michigan.
See you then.
All right, so that was the 21 of Brian Chambliss, tonight's second place getter and the Hard Charger Award winner. Now it's time for our race winner, and of course, the winner of tonight, the man on screen, the number 38 of Thomas Harmon. Thomas, you had another dominating victory out there tonight, but you didn't have it all your own way, especially with the little bit of a caution fest we had there towards the end.
Yeah, the cautions kind of threw a wrench into everything, and I with all the different tire strategies playing out, and the cautions falling as they did, I kind of questioning whether or not I was on the right strategy. Fortunately, I was, and it wasn't too easy to get all the way back through the field for the guys on fresh tires.
It was definitely higher saving for the first half, like we come to expect. What was your tire life like towards the end of that first run? And then what was the strategy with all the restarts of the cautions?
For the first half of the race, tire wear was pretty good. Guys were throwing out numbers in the 30s on the right front for the first stint there, and mine was 66, I believe it was. But for the second half, with the cautions falling every 3, 4, 5 laps apart, um, I would just ride on the really low side around the track to cool off the tires. And I know heat means a lot more to these tires than the tire wear, so keeping the tires cool was definitely key to being able to stay up front.
All right, now let's look forward towards next week. Next week we're going to be heading to the Michigan Speedway. What's it feeling like for you as we head to the 2 Mile Michigan Oval?
Oh, I love me some Michigan. Cannot wait. Uh, once the right front tires get warmed up there, I expect to go flying by everybody.
Awesome, Bill. Before we let you go, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to here tonight?
Shout out to you up in the booth for broadcasting it to everybody. Your internet provider for make sure you have a solid connection. Uh, all the drivers that show up each week, the fans that show up and watch, and everyone in the car.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much for coming out, Thomas. Look forward to seeing what you can do next week when we head to Michigan.
Sounds good. I'll be there. Have a good one, Corey.
All right, guys, that was tonight's winner, the 38 of Mr. Thomas Harmon. That is going to end things off here for us tonight. Make sure you stay tuned next week. At Michigan is sure to be an absolute banger like tonight was. And until then, I've been your commentator, the Aussie Sim commentator. We'll see you guys in Michigan.